Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Let's Talk Arsenal series, and a new episode in a new series called The Inside Track, in which we're going to try and give you guys some inside insight into what's been going on at Arsenal, and specifically towards their transfer links as well, of which there are many, thousands, clearly, that Arsenal get linked to every single summer. I'm very happy today to be joined by Sacha Tavolieri. How are you doing, mate? Are you good? Are you well?
Hello, Tom. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Like I told you off the air, I was really enjoying the match against of France against Hungary. It was a really pleasant battle, and yes, it was a big fight.
It was. I mean, the listeners of the show know that I'm quite a big fan of Szoboszlai, who obviously isn't there for the tournament this year, and I was gutted. But, I mean, they showed some real fight, didn't they, to take that point?
Yes, of course. That Szoboszlai is a really big player, and they needed to get, of course, something more. And this thing more, I think, was the public. You know, the audience was amazing.
Yeah.
What a sphere! I really enjoyed to see it, because with the COVID, we didn't get the opportunity to see this. And I'm sure that they did this kind of performance because of them. Otherwise, it would not be possible. They were really clear of the plan of the game was really clear. They were well prepared and they knew what they will do. But there is something more in terms of energy that they bring, and this is due to the audience for sure.
Nice stuff. I'm not hoping that you can hear me okay. The microphone's apparently been a bit weird. I'm just going to try and change that quickly. It should be
fine.
For
me, it's fine. I can hear you without problem. If it's not good for you,
it's coming through on the chat box. People are saying it's a bit strange. I'm hoping that it's okay now. Can you hear me now? Fine.
Yes, it's very clear. It's
okay,
better.
Perfect. Let's talk about Sambi Lokonga, because of course he's been linked with Arsenal for quite a while now, and I think that he's an interesting player for Arsenal to be linked to, actually, because Arsenal have kind of had a history of signing players that have not been that great for them in regards to their sell-on value. We've been signing players like Willian, like Granit Xhaka, like Mustafi, and these guys that have cost a lot, be it with wages, be it with the actual fee, but we've not been able to sell very well. In fact, there was an amazing statistic that came out that Arsenal haven't actually made any profit on any starting players since 2013, which is a mad statistic. Yes. So Lokonga is kind of this player as well. He's a young player. He's got loads of potential. And for what we're being told, is quite a reasonable figure as well for his transfer fee. Just give us and the listeners kind of what your interpretation of what the latest kind of is. Do you think this is basically a waiting game, I suppose, until it finally happens?
First of all, I want to thank you for the invitation, and also tell you that for me, Arsenal has to do this for the future, searching the prospects. And this is really good for the Belgium Championship, because we need to have some clubs like the standing, which have the standing of Arsenal, to put the level, and also I think the reputation of our Belgian Championship higher. And the fact that Sambi Lokonga is concretely interesting this kind of club, it's a really good thing for the whole Belgian football. This was just a sort of apartheid that they wanted to do. Also, with this situation, I want to be clear, because I saw a lot of things, a lot of people writing on my name, and I didn't spoke about the situation. So this is also why I accept to speak with you this afternoon, because I saw a lot of things, and I want to clarify a bit the situation. So for the moment, things that are really clear is that Sambi Lokonga is really pleased to the interest of Arsenal. He's thinking that for the moment, Arsenal is the best club that is interesting on him. So that wants to say that Arsenal is not the only club for the moment that is searching and pushing for him. There is also FCCV, there is Bayer Leverkusen, and but this is something that happened some months ago. Also AS Monaco from France. So therefore, for the moment, it's obvious that Arsenal is leading the race, and that it seems to be logical that they will win it, because everybody knows that first of all, Sambi Lokonga wants to increase his level as quick as possible. Roberto Martinez of the Belgian Federation, the coach of the Belgium Red Devils, is telling to all young players that are evolving in the Belgian Championship that they need to go to the Premier League if they want to easier to be in the first 11 of this club. So for him, it's a must. It's really, really important, a sort of priority. And all the entourage and also his lawyer, Stan Francis of Sambi Lokonga, is aware of this, and they are making all the situation to be concrete so that the deal can be done. For the moment, everything is evolving really good. Talks ongoing. It's not done. I already told to you, but I want to be precise like this. But fact is that the player wants to go. That's the first fact. Second is that Anderlecht needs to get money and liquidity as much and as quick as possible for the annual budget that they are planning. So this kind of money cannot be refused 2 or 3 times. They refuse, first of all, an offer of 15 million plus bonus from Arsenal. The second one will be higher, and then they will find, of course, an agreement, because you know that Anderlecht has planned to sell Lokonga from September. So it's a long period. They knew that he will go, and he has also told to the press just before the end of the season that he was okay to leave. So now it's which situation and which club. And from what I know, it will concern and it will please all the parts if Arsenal will be this club.
You said there about Arsenal at the moment are leading the race, as it seems, but there has been interest. You mentioned some of the clubs. I mean, I was made aware that also Dortmund and Bayern Munich have been looking at him and have been interested, have been tracking his kind of development and progress. With the stage that you're aware that it's at, is there any kind of course, anything can happen, anything's possible really at this stage, but do you think there's any inkling or any idea that a Monaco could, say, come in at the last minute and try and hijack the deal?
Fact is that they are the club that has been the most concrete in these last months. I know that with Monaco there will be some. There was some conversation. Also, they met the entourage of the player, and they met also some dirigent there. So the discussion has already been as far as possible with Monaco. So now it's only the choice of the player, and I think that he is thinking. Sambi is a player who has a lot of ambition in his career, and he is thinking about his impact. Of course, Arsenal has his priority because he knows absolutely that the impact he will have in Arsenal will not be the same, and he will be considered in another way in Belgium, of course, if he signed for this big club. And also, he has, and we will a bit, I think, talk about the profile of this player, but he has absolutely a profile to be a big player in Arsenal. He just needs to adapt himself to the intensity of the Premier League. This is something that is quite obvious for everybody, but technically he's an amazing player. He's perfect. He has a first touch absolutely beautiful. He can shoot out of the 16 first meter of the field really precisely. He's nice. He's a great player.
Let's talk more about him then as a player and how he could transition. Let's start positionally, because that's a big thing for Arsenal this summer, looking at buying the right players for the right positions. And Arsenal's midfield is certainly an area that's been in need of some addressing. Granit Xhaka looks like he's going to be on his way out to Roma. Obviously, Dani Ceballos' loan finished and he went back to Real Madrid. And so there's a bit of a gap between Thomas Partey, who signed, of course, last summer, and then the others that are there, which are Mohamed El Neni, which is quite a drop-off in quality between those two. Where do you think, and do you think there's maybe a reason why Lokonga has chosen Arsenal? Is because he sees that situation, he sees that Arsenal's midfield is open, and do you think the reason why he's probably choosing and leaning more towards Arsenal is because he knows that he's going to get minutes at the club?
I think he knows that this is a challenge. This is maybe the biggest challenge of his life, but this is the biggest opportunity also of his life. So he is dreaming about Arsenal from years. He has also something that is really important for a young player. He's a leader. He's a really big leader on the field, and he's quite young to be a leader. But this is his mentality. He wants to talk with everybody, to lead everybody, and to be the man in the center of what is going to be in the field on the 90 minutes. You understand? Yeah. This is important to understand for the Arsenal fans, because he will be a player, maybe absolutely not the style of Thomas Partey, but he plays at, if we talk about football, at the same level in Belgian division. But we know that the championship are, of course, really different. And what Lokonga will do with Arsenal is playing a bit higher, because technically he's able to play in a short position. He has a lot of impact. He can do a dribble and then go to the right really quickly, and this is something that the Arsenal fans love. And also, and as I told you precedently, he's a prospect.
Yeah,
he's a player that Arsenal could sell in the future more. So this is also a good idea for Arsenal to put to put this kind of targets in their mind. But now the only question that I would have on the player is not on his level, but is on the capacity of the Arsenal fans to understand that he will need time to adapt himself to the level of the Premier League, because this is something that we told to him a lot. He needs a bit to be more, he's a from origin African player, so he's a bit, from in France we told this nonchalance, a sort of he's
relaxed.
A bit too relaxed, and he has to speed up again, to try to make a bit of dynamic on his play, and this is important. But I don't think this is not reachable, and this is not possible to be better for him. No. He is able to make a big performance in Arsenal. But I say this almost for the Arsenal fans. Just be patient with him.
I'm interested about part of his personality, actually, because I spoke to Peter Calcuin of HLN News about him, and one of the things that he said was that he's very self-conscious, but he knows the words he used was he knows how good he is, he knows his quality, he knows what he's about. And at Arsenal, and the fans are really kind of not obsessed with this, but they get a bit concerned about kind of the personality of players. They don't want players that have got too much arrogance, and they kind of want players that know the kind of the stature of the club, know what the club's about. Do you think there is any kind of similarities in the personality and how confident he is himself with, say, someone like a Matteo Guendouzi, who's very much quite a divisive character, but is he a lot more kind of humble than that figure, would you say?
This is, yes, of course. This is absolutely not the style of player he is. Absolutely the opposite. Fact is that he's a leader, and he will talk with everybody, but he has a bit the England and the English mentality. He goes on the fight, he works, he do what he has to do, but he's not complaining a lot, he's not talking a lot, he's just listening. And in his mind, the objective is to learn a bit, and every time he can learn, he will learn. This is why I told to the Arsenal fan that if in the first 2 games, when he will come, because I think, and we can say it today, the deal is almost on a good way. So
yeah,
he could come, and if he comes and he signs, he will of course be a bit slow. People will see him a bit like a player who is a bit slow. But this is just a matter of time and needs adaptation. But there is something really interesting to know about Sambi Lokonga, is that he has, when I was talking about leader mentality, he is absolutely a fan of Michael Jordan, and
Okay.
he is absolutely listening and reading everything on Michael Jordan, and he's really his mentor, and he wants to understand a bit all what makes the success of this champion. So this is a bit what kind of player you will have. A player that is just fully focused on the field and fully focused on his new challenges.
It's great. It's great to hear, because obviously at Arsenal, and the mentality of the club is that some of the fans, and me included, actually, I say some of the fans, and I always include myself in that, and saying that I think Arsenal have lacked that drive, lacked that ambition to real push ourselves. And I mean, there was times where players like Alexis Sanchez were here and were even criticised for how much they wanted to win, and it's a real culture change that's been needed. And so he sounds like that player. Going back positionally, Arsenal, of course, we don't really know the system that Arteta wants to use next season, because the players that we're being linked to are of so many different kind of variants that we don't really know. Do you look at Lokonga as more of your solid central midfielder, your number 8 that's a box to box, or do you see him as someone who could play more of a number 6, sit in front of that back 4 and cover it? What is his best role, do you think?
For me, he is the perfect central midfielder, but it's not the good central midfielder and defensive midfielder for Arsenal. For me, with Thomas Partey, it's pretty impossible to see him in the first 11 next season. But if he plays as a central midfielder with his quality of box to box, he will of course do the things good. But in the style of Sambi Lokonga, something is really important is his intelligence on the field. So he can absolutely adapt himself. He already played as a number 8. He can play as a number 6, and if you put him a bit higher on the field, he can also play number 10. You have to know that during his formation at Anderlecht, he was playing on the wing. So he can do it, He has a polyvalence and also intelligence in terms of placement on the field. In fact, he can know where he is the best, and he has a sort of, you were talking about self-consciousness. This is something important with Sambi Lokonga. If he knows that he will be better in a collective prospect and in collective way as a number 8, he will play number 8, and he will make everything to understand and to learn as to be better as a number 8. And if Arsenal put this kind of player and they sign him as a number 8. They will not sign him as a number 6. But his polyvalence make that he can play, of course, at this point. Fact is that in Anderlecht he was playing as a defensive midfielder because he's, it's too easy for him. He plays a bit like Axel Witsel.
Yes.
Okay, but Axel Witsel has a bit the same style as Sambi Lokonga. He's really relaxed. He put the ball, he recuperates a lot of balls, and he gets it, and then he gives the ball really quickly and accelerate the game. And this is a bit what you can expect in the short term of Sambi Lokonga.
It's interesting when you said about Thomas Partey and maybe he wouldn't be playing as much because we have Thomas Partey. Do you not think there's a capacity for them to play together, play with each other? Yes,
and this will be really interesting because you don't have to wait from Sambi Lokonga, someone who is really aggressive on the fights and someone who will make some tackles. And no, it's not. It's a proper player. It's a classy player. He will of course make the defensive work and he will fight to recuperate some balls. This is not a problem. But fact is that he will do it with a way more Arsenal way. I don't know if you understand what I mean when I say Arsenal way.
Of course I do. Yeah.
It's classy. It's not. We are not talking about a player.
Be careful who you use here. I feel like you're going to go through different teams. I think, who is it going to be?
Yes, I was thinking about a sort of comparison, of course, to say to you, but I didn't find it. But a really aggressive player. Yes. I think you have a lot of aggressive players in your mind. and you understand that he's absolutely not this kind of style. And this is why Thomas Partey, who is more really a defensive player,
of course,
will be a perfect complement to Sambi Lokonga, of course.
Partey's been a really interesting player because, like last season, he very much took on so much the responsibility in the Arsenal midfield because Granit Xhaka was next to him, who's kind of a player that's quite static. He's not your mobile player. He's the one who gets the ball, turns, passes the ball, or can move it like 5 yards or whatever, and then plays the ball. He very rarely has too many dribbles in the games. When I've looked at the statistics of Lokonga, he's someone who does like to travel with the ball at his feet at times and move and progress the ball and then play some really incisive passes between the defensive lines to find his teammates in the final third. Do you think, as kind of just to round this off and kind of round off where we're talking about Lokonga in terms of his attacking capabilities, even though he's played much as a defensive midfielder, do you think there's scope, as you said earlier, for him to play as maybe a 10, but for him to play as that box to box? But how good is his creation? What can he add to Arsenal's creative capacity in the team?
Mm-hmm. Yes, when you speak about the creativity of and the ability of Sambi Lokonga to be good in the creation, you have to understand that he plays in the hood in Belgium football since he is 5 years old. So it's for him. This is something really easy and. It's something in him, inside him. It's in his genes to play quickly, to play technically, to be easy, to make the difference. It's not something that he has to learn. It's something that it's already in him, to be honest. And I think that if you imagine the player he is now and what he can be in Arsenal, you can speak about Samir Nasri. He plays with Samir Nasri. He was a big fan of Samir Nasri in the years he was playing in Arsenal, and this is for him something really good. When he was in Anderlecht, he was always talking with Samir Nasri to learn, to understand how to be better. What is his knowledge of the past, and how was he good in Arsenal, and what makes him better? How was the identity of the game when Arsene Wenger was the coach and Samir Nasri was there. He's also really close to him, so he knows a bit how he has to be advised about Arsenal, and this is important because he has a bit dreamed about this generation with Thierry Henry, with Vieira, Robert Pires, and this is something he has always seen on the screen and dreamed about this. So for him, could be the best. Wow, it's Arsenal. For him, it's something like maybe he couldn't imagine to sign in Arsenal some years ago. It's a real dream for him to sign there.
It's so interesting when you say Samir Nasri, of course, because like Arsenal fans and the history of Samir Nasri is not the best because of what obviously happened at the end of his time and leaving for City. But to hear that obviously he's been around a player that, I mean, if we were being very real, Nasri was a great player for Arsenal. It just didn't end particularly well. And to hear that he's obviously getting maybe those tips and those suggestions from a player that played in a much more attacking kind of role to add that to his game makes him become a really interesting kind of hybrid talent in that midfield. So that it will be interesting, and fingers crossed this deal kind of will go through in the coming weeks, fingers crossed, and we can see him play for Arsenal in pre-season, which starts in less than a month now as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see. But thank you ever so much, Sacha, for taking the time out of your afternoon.
It's a big pleasure, and I really hope that Sambi will I will inform, of course, everybody if I have some news, but the situation, as I will remind it, is on a good way. We will be really happy in Belgium if Sambi signs in Arsenal, and it will be a good thing also for the future of the Belgian football, because we need this kind of talents that are signed by big clubs like Arsenal, and it's a great sign also for the future of our national football.
Because I think there's, sorry to keep you a bit longer, just about Belgian football in general,
it's
but
good. No
when I look at the Belgian national team, you've got your De Bruyne, you've got your Hazard, you've got your Lukaku, you've got all of these huge personalities and talents, but they are towards the end of their 20s. In the back line, you've got Vertonghen and Alderweireld that are obviously in their 30s now. And you do think, is this Euros, is this next World Cup going to be the last real big opportunity for Belgium to win that big tournament? But when you've got, say, a Sambi Lokonga, when you've got a Doku coming through as well, that gives you that hope that maybe Belgium can bring another and can continue, well, not even another, but continue bringing through this top talent.
Yes, of course, and this is where you thank and you are really thankful of the work done by Roberto Martinez, because he is also the technical director, national technical director of the Belgian Federation. So he made a plan on the evolution of the all young players and how they have to be I think good in a certain moment, and how they have some step to reach to be at the level he is waiting for. So we have we have a coach, but we have also a really good technical director, and with him and with all the work he's doing from the U15 to the A team, we can be really happy.
Is there a worry that he's going to go? Because I remember writing a few stories about him being linked with possible moves back to the Premier League. And as you say, he's very ingrained with kind of the Belgian FA, and as you say, all the way from under 15s all the way up. If he goes, what is there a plan? Is there a backup? Is there a contingency for that?
For the moment, it's really difficult to say it, because the objective is to try to work on what he has done and a bit not explode his legacy. You know, he has really worked on something important for the future of our nation and for all our young talents. So I think the substitute of Roberto Martinez, because of course Everton wants him, Tottenham wants him, big teams in Premier League, and this is understandable because they saw the work he's doing with Belgium is impressive, and I understand that some clubs in England said, okay, he did what he did with Everton, with Wigan, and it was not amazing, but what he's now planning to do with Belgium inspire some clubs to do the same. You understand? And this is important also to signal, but. No, there is also the track Thierry Henry. Everybody dreamed about this. I think it's important to. I'm dreaming about this. I don't say everybody, because I'm not in the body of everybody. You understand?
I do it all the time for Arsenal fans. I think this, and that's what every Arsenal fan thinks. Obviously,
Yes, this is a kind of mistake I did also. But I think Thierry Henry can be a good substitute, because he knows what Roberto Martinez done all these years, and this is of course a key to go higher and to go further in the evolution of our nation. So for me, can be a solution, but there is also the track of Vincent Kompany, who is now the coach of Anderlecht, coach of Sambi Lokonga. So that can open some lines of reflection, but of course now we are really happy and we don't want Roberto Martinez to go.
Let me throw to a question in the chat just around things. There's been over 1,000 of you that have tuned in for the show, so thank you so much that has tuned in. If you could drop a like on the video, we would really appreciate it. Sahil in the chat says, other than we mentioned Sambi and we mentioned Doku, is there any other Belgian players that we need to look out for coming through from the younger side of things?
Yes, of course. We are talking about Anderlecht and Anwar Ait Elhadj, who is a creative midfielder, really technical player. Amazing to see. Also a great physical devotion on the field. So can make happy the Arsenal fans. There is Zinho van Usden, the central defender of Standard, who he was on the backup list of Roberto Martinez. He was I think he was the propriety of Inter Milan, and then they sell him again to Standard because he made his formation there, so to Standard de Liège, and then he's planning to go again into Inter Milan this summer. So he's a big defender, And we have also a third one, but I think you already saw it during the Champions League. It's Charles de Ketelaar from Bruges.
Yes.
He's a great real player, a big
Someone
player.
in the chat has literally just said, "What is your opinion on?" There you go, de Ketelaar. So there you go. They're watching. They know.
yes. They know what there is in my mind. We are in completely connection. He's a big player, and there is something impressive in Charles de Ketelaar is that he's able to have a lot of make a lot of work for the team, but he's not losing his lucidity when he has to face the goalkeeper, or he has to make a good pass, and this is important when you need to play higher, is to stay this kind of lucidity. And also he's really tall, but he's really technical, something that people in England really love.
Me, 6'3", can't dribble the ball. That's how it works. But no, Sacha, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. If Arsenal ever get linked to more players from the Belgian league or that are Belgian themselves, we will not hesitate to get in contact with you. But appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I appreciate it too.
No problem at all. You can find Sacha on Twitter. His name is there on the screen for you, and it is just that, simply on Twitter. You'll find him if you type that in, so make sure you do. We'll also leave a link to it in the description as well. We'll see you again tomorrow morning for your 8 a.m. transfer update show, which plenty of Lokonga updates, I'm sure, will be coming through in the coming weeks too. See you again very soon, guys, and as always, up the Arsenal.
Bye.